Commander Major Glenn Ignazio joins me. Good evening, sir. And can we first start with the B-1 Lancer bomber? Why that?
Incredible large payload, incredible reach, the ability to refuel and be able to get to an area very quickly, the long capability and loiter time that it has over the target area, the idea that you can use less aircraft with a tremendous amount of weaponry on board to take targets out, minimizes the amount of time and the amount of forces that are in theater to be able to get in, hit quickly, and be able to get out if necessary.
How many of these B-1 Lancer bombers do you think it took to do what was done today?
Well, 85 targets. They carry about 24 large capacity, up to 2,000-pound bombs. They're JDAM, so they're very detailed. They're GPS guided or laser guided, depending on which ones they're using. So they can carry about 24 each. So depending on that, you always want to have secondaries in case anything goes wrong. But it could be a package of about 4. I don't have the details yet. But you also have F-16s, F-15Es that are able to take out threats as well. So I haven't seen the details of the entire package, but the myriad of those different types of fighters, fighter attack, and the bombers is what they brought to bear on these terrorists.
All right, the killings happened on Sunday where 3 of our soldiers were killed. We strike today, hit 85 targets. So they had to identify 85 targets. Were those targets identified before Sunday? I mean, how do you manage to identify 85 targets of people who are associated with trying to kill us that quickly?
Well, the ability and the intelligence that's gone on in that area is pretty extensive. Now, you got to remember, there's 160, 170 plus attacks against the U.S. So each and every one of these has been tracked, and we haven't been preemptive as far as preventing the strikes. But all that intelligence has been pulled and monitored at a near real time. So once that strike occurred, they're able to see where the origin was based on the weapon, the weapon's range, and so forth, and be able to identify. So the first thing they're going to do in putting a package together like this is look at how they command and control, so how they talk and see things, their intelligence. Also, their logistics chain is actually what really makes the biggest part of this, and that was where all the storage areas were of missiles and or drones that were operating and being launched in the area. Without those, they don't have the ability to carry out those types of attacks. That's the most initial and immediate strikes that could be taken care of rather effectively and quickly.
How do we know when to stop? I mean, there's been a lot of criticism in some of the other military engagements we've had. For instance, in Afghanistan, some people thought we should have just stopped after we did the initial bombing of the Taliban back in 2001, and even how long we stayed in Iraq. I mean, at what point do we think this is the end? This is where we stop?
Yeah, great point. I think that from this situation and what has unfortunately gone from our past in this administration is we do have to sustain these attacks, or at least sustain that prominence in that area. And the reason for it is making sure that they're not coming back together or that they aren't attacking. The be preemptive striking of striking the sites before they launch is really what was critical. We did that with the Houthis, but very, very much at the end. But I completely agree with you. Believe me, personally, it's bothered me greatly as far as what happened in Afghanistan. And present day is, okay, now we did this. What's next? Believe it or not, I believe that Iran's reaction to this is going to determine what we're going to do. And that's really the wrong thing. We should have this plan even before this attack happened. But I tell you, that's the biggest thing is we need to know what the engagement is going in, what the results will be in strategy, and then how do we get out? So that's the thing that has been lacking. That's an apolitical, professional approach to this. That's what we really need to understand.
But you got to think, Iran really are the ultimate cowards. I mean, they've been financing everybody else to do their dirty work, whether it's the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah. I mean, they're really cowards. They spend them, they pass the money around, they pass the weapons around. And even today, as we saw that some of the militias, CBS News is reporting, as soon as they killed our 3 people, all of a sudden they said, oh, we're out of here. They're disbanding. They're running for cover. I mean, there are a lot of cowards in this area doing horrible things.
Yeah, there's a lot of cowards, and one of the ways we prepare, though, is also think as an enemy of being one of the best, right? That's how we want to prepare ourselves. But you're right, there's a lot that they have exported, and they are the #1 exporter of terrorism. So they have their tentacles all over this area in the Middle East, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, and all these factions within Iraq. And that's how they manage it. They're able to sort of keep that offload. The worrisome of this, okay, and this is one of the reasons why not attacking Iran directly, at least from a kinetic weapons, was important, is you got to remember is that the Straits of Hormuz is one of the most critical areas for oil globally. We have a U.S. naval fleet in Bahrain, but if the Houthis, that are not really the best organized, were able to cause that much mayhem in the Red Sea, we really have to watch what is Iran going to do in the Straits of Hormuz. So we really have to look at this as hitting the IRGC, absolutely. Hitting Iran directly, That's what you have to watch out for. So it's not an ego. This is practicality and weapons and targets and threats that are being taken care of militarily. That's what we really need to focus on.
Major Glenn Ignazio, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Nice to see you, Greta.
Nice to see you.